Dallas, some people are saying they stole Trey Lance, but if your neighbor leaves a couch out on the sidewalk with the word free on it, are you really stealing it?
That's pretty much it. It's not stealing a quarterback if you're pretty much being handed him. And if you are being handed a quarterback, it's for a reason. They are very, very few and far between in this league. There's a reason San Francisco saw everything they needed to see out of Trey Lance to fully commit to Brock Purdy after a short, small sample size is pretty telling. That they would commit to Purdy over Trey Lance with everything they invested in Trey Lance. They've invested almost nothing in Brock Purdy, right? They don't owe anything to Brock Purdy, yet here we are because of how bad Trey Lance was. Now, either way, though, San Francisco, I think it's one of the few teams where quarterback really doesn't matter as much with the amount of weapons that they have and the system that they have. Like you were saying, Ryan, very quarterback friendly. It goes to show how bad Trey Lance is that he couldn't figure it out. You know, Brock Purdy played well in it. You've seen tons of quarterbacks just plug in and play. Josh Johnson in the playoffs, only so much you can do against that defense. Speaking of defenses, though, San Francisco has one of the best in the league. They're a top 3 defense in the NFL. They always seem to get good coaches in there. Doesn't matter if it's Robert Saleh, if it's D'Amico Ryans, you know, they always seem to have a good defensive coach. I just think San Francisco does everything right. You know, they moved off of Trey Lance, something that they didn't do right. They found their mistake. They moved on. They're continuing to move forward, and it's why they've been a premier and winning organization since Shanahan and Lynch got there.
Listen, the 49ers are smart at a lot of things. Quarterback, not one of them. Let's just take a stroll down memory lane with this team. The team struggling at quarterback trades for Jimmy Garoppolo. Plays a couple of games for them, wins a couple of games. They make him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Jimmy Garoppolo. Then he goes on to make an NFC championship or 2 for them, and they decide not enough. We got to go get some guy with all the tools, an athletic player. Let's go get Trey Lance. That's who we want. He's got the tools. Yeah, he's a Division II quarterback who hasn't played a lot of games. We know he's going to be a project. You get him, sit him a year behind Jimmy, make another NFC championship against the Rams, lose that one. That offseason, they decide. Trey Lance, that's the guy. They tried to lock Jimmy Garoppolo out of the building. They tried to kick him out and pack his bags for him. Didn't work, obviously. You bring Trey Lance in, week 1, Chicago Bears. I mean, they played at a water park. I'm not sure how much you could take away from that game. It was just not what you see every Sunday. Then 4-5 offensive snaps into their week 2 game. Trey Lance breaks his leg. Terrible.
Rip.
Not practicing. Obviously, we know the season that Brock Purdy went on to have for the team. But I'm just so lost on when Trey Lance became, yes, all this draft capital, he's our guy, to he's not even worth being on this roster above Sam Darnold.
Because they see what's going on in practice. They see day in and day out.
You knew he was a project.
Yeah, but
that's a project now.
But that's exactly the point. It's so bad that they're just ready to get him out. It would.
But
be
you
one
knew
thing
he'd be
if
a
Dallas,
project.
The fact that they gave up a 7th round pick, that's it. That is all they asked for Trey Lance.
4th.
Shows how bad it is.
4th.
They got a 4th.
4th. Either way.
For a quarterback, that might as well
big
be.
Not
difference.
a return. They gave him away.
They
gave him away.
Because
Trey
the
Lance
organization
was a
is terrible at the
disaster.
quarterback position.
It was a complete
Well,
disaster
hold on.
and big botch of a pick.
We're also missing that it wasn't that the Niners went out to look to trade him. Trey Lance asked to get traded.
After he was 3rd on the depth chart.
Right. So the Niners didn't give him away in the sense that they were just like, here, take him. They were going to keep him, and he asked out, and they acquiesced. They said, sure, we'll find you somebody. We'll try to get the best return we can. With where they were in training camp, it's not like you're going to get the best move. You're a quarterback. It takes a while to learn the playbook. So even if he's going to back up Dak, it's still going to take a while, and it's going to be a big project in a roster spot for the Cowboys because they have to keep 3 quarterbacks now.
Yeah, I think he's worth the project, though.
Yeah,
because
especially if
for
you think
them, Cooper Rush is going to want a deal. If
if
you don't
they
give him
wanted-
it, he's a good
if
backup for
San-
Dak. And Dak's going
if
to want
San
the largest
Francisco-
contract ever.
if San Francisco wanted to keep Trey Lance, they would not have made him the. If they were going to keep Trey Lance and Sam Darnold, they very easily could have put Sam Darnold as third on the depth chart. They did not have to do this to Trey Lance. They sent a message. They clearly did not want him on the roster. That's what it came down to. They clearly said he is not going to be the guy here. That's what it came down to.
They said he's not going to be the guy this year. They never said next year. You won't. They won't.
No,
be,
but the fact that they put him behind the fact that they put him behind Sam Darnold,
he lost the job to Sam Darnold. He didn't
exactly. You lose the job to Sam Darnold. They're saying that you're not ever going to play here. Not even a year
removed from that injury. It takes.
They said they gave up on him. They gave up on him.
They did give up on him.
That may be well and true, but it doesn't mean they gave him away for nothing. He asked for out. They didn't look to move him. He asked to be moved. And
they did not field offers very long.
They gave up on him. But my question to you guys is, why are we praising a team for getting rid of Trey Lance when they spent all of those draft picks that we talked about that landed the Dolphins, Jalen Waddle, Bradley Chubb, and Tyreek Hill to get this guy who they knew was going to be a project, and then they give up on him after a game and a half as their starter?
I didn't praise them when they made the move. I'm not praising them now. But the thing is I can totally praise them for making the right move in this current situation. The right move was to get him out. The right move was to move on. When you realize the guy is never going to play for you ever, and that is what happened, San Francisco moved on. And that is the right move in that spot. Obviously, it's it wasn't a great decision to go give up those assets, but they didn't hold on for too long. They didn't sit there and waste seasons trying to force Trey Lance to work. And that's where San Francisco made the right move.
Yeah, I agree with Ben here.
We're going to applaud Arizona though for moving off of Josh Rosen a year after drafting him for the same reason.
I did applaud Arizona after moving off of him because they realized Josh Rosen wasn't the guy. Right. They had the number one pick and they got the guy who they thought was going to be their guy, and Kyler Murray, and the guy Cliff Kingsbury wanted.
Yeah, and that's not working out well for them. I just think with the Niners, it's just they were on top of the world, right? The last two major trade ups in a draft for a quarterback involved the Niners. They were the other team when the Bears traded up for Trubisky. They got all that draft capital and squandered everything by trading up for Trey Lance and getting it. John Lynch might not be a good general manager at this point.
I don't think Shanahan wanted Lance. I think he wanted Mac Jones. I think that's why all those reports came out at that time. I think that Shanahan is still holding on to wanting Kirk Cousins, to be honest. I think this team's going to be in I think that's who he wanted before Jimmy Garoppolo came to town. I think they're going to be in quarterback purgatory. I don't think Brock Purdy's the guy. Aside from Brock Purdy, I think they have top to bottom one of the top three rosters overall in the NFL. But again, I'm not sure with Brock Purdy if he's even going to be good at throwing the ball long term with that UCL injury. And Sam Darnold, I've seen enough.